There's one last thing that I want to cover in C++, which has to do with constructors that have different sets of parameters. So if your parent class just has a default constructor, the way that I showed before is just fine. However, let's take a look at this example where the parent class has a constructor with a single integer, and the child class takes in 2 values in its constructor. So when I'm creating a new parent object, I pass in 1. The child takes 2. How do I deal with that? So for example, if I want this first parameter to be the thing that's passed into the parent, there's a way that I specify that. And so this is the way that it looks, is that in the child CPP file, when I'm putting in the constructor, I put afterwards a colon and which constructor the parent I want to call, and then pass in the corresponding parameters. So if this value needs to be passed in, it's passed in here. I actually don't ever use the second value in this example, but it's just a way to put in a second parameter. This one, notice that the ID number doesn't get set in here in the parent constructor, but it does in the child. So when I want to get the ID number out of the parent, it'll be whatever the default is. It's not going to have any values. So if I look at this program, what happens is that when I say new parent, it says parent object, and then up here it says parent constructor. So that one gets called. That's what I see here. Next, I say child object. And then I say new child. Now notice it calls parent constructor first. This is just like before. So it calls this one, even though I've called the child constructor. So it does the parent constructor first, and then it does the things in child constructor. So for example, if I put a cout over here, in child constructor. Save that, recompile it. So it does the parent constructor first, then the child constructor. And when I cout the new parent ID, it's 0 because there's nothing that's here. If I do this one here where I pass in the 3, it passes in the 3. 0 is not guaranteed. Notice I haven't set ID anywhere. But it is certainly not the 5 that I pass in the parameter. So that's what I wanted to point out. All right, that should get you a little further into dealing with inheritance.